It's December 18th, 2023. I am at Joel Pearl, and it's time to get in the weeds. Whew.
Hello, Joel Pearl.
Hi.
Joel Pearl, what's wrong?
Hi, Katsiora Shalambert.
Hello, Joel Pearl.
Hi, how are you?
Joel Pearl, what's wrong?
Where do you want to start? Are you going to be my therapist today? Because I might need one.
Hello, Joel Pearl.
Hi. Do we have anything to add? This took forever during the last gimmick. Jeremy, all right, for those who don't know, Jeremy was doing this during the holiday stream over on youtube.com/Fightful last night. That was the bit. It was a good bit. We talked about doing that bit on this show. So there you go. If you watched this show, you knew that this bit was coming. The Katsiora Shalambert gimmick.
Hello, Joel Pearl.
Hello, Jeremy Lambert. How are you this
morning?
morning?
Pearl, what's wrong?
I'll because we always do this. By the way, leave a thumbs up on the video and subscribe to us here at Fightful Overbooked. We're trying to get to 15,000 subscribers. We are so close. We're about 100 away. Tell your friends, make a new account. I don't care how you do it. Get the bots after us. Just go and inflate the numbers to the point where it makes sense. Okay. I'm good. Let's plug it right now. 11 o'clock. We have a very special guest joining us from TNA Wrestling. It's a surprise. We're gonna break a little news with them, have a little fun with it. So hoping you'll tell all your friends to come and join us. That's going to be at 11 a.m. Eastern. So in about 50 minutes, about just under an hour from now. We're looking forward to that. And yeah, my morning has been just a giant show. I had to take my kid to daycare, which is something that I don't normally do on a Monday morning, but my wife is under the weather, so I did it. And we faced massive delays on transit, which made everything just hell. So I got back to my office with about 5 minutes to go, had to restart my computer, which always takes a good hour. And here we are. Jeremy Lambert, how are you?
I'm well. We've got a big show, a tremendous show, one of our best shows ever. We have a huge announcement, a very important announcement. Just a big announcement. What's the scale of announcements? Thought I was doing the J Uso there. What's the scale of announcements that we have here going on, Joel?
Let's call it addresses the audience.
Okay, all right. We're addressing the audience.
I'm gonna set
addressing the Wheaties.
Yes, I'm gonna set expectations. It's good news. It's fun news. We're gonna do something that is that nobody has heard yet. It is going to be exclusive. Don't expect us to be, announcing that TNA has been sold to somebody or anything. That's not what we're doing. We're going to have a really fun conversation with somebody who's going to join us at 11 o'clock. And we're going to talk to them about what's going on in TNA and what's coming up at Hard to Kill.
I think that addresses the audience is good. We don't want to set expectations too high here.
Yeah, exactly. We already set our own expectations so high on this video that we ask people for super chats. And when we get those super chats, we're like, I don't know what y'all are thinking, but we appreciate it. Any amount, by the way, get your question statement right on the air. We always appreciate that. Chi-Town Spurs says they'll pay $20 if you stop doing the bit.
I mean, I'll take the $20. That's fine. That was such a good bit last night, by the way. 3 years running, everybody. 3 years. I've never spoken a single word on the holiday stream. You got to give me some credit.
We didn't do a holiday stream last year, though.
We did it, and I was very disappointed by that. Very disappointed that we didn't do a holiday stream last year. We will be doing, by the way, I don't know when. But we will be doing our annual. It's pretty annual at this point. We've done it the last 2 years. End of year stream on Overbooked, kind of the same way we do it with the main Fightful channel. All the super chats and stuff gets donated to the staff of Overbooked. Everybody but me. I'll throw Joel in there. Joel will actually get money off of this. Everybody but me, because I'm good. But Joel doesn't get paid enough for all the work he does on Overbooked. Much like Sean, where it's everybody but him with the Fightful holiday stream. It's everybody but me with the Overbooked year-end stream. We'll be doing that between Christmas and New Year's Day. I don't know when, but one of these days.
Next year, I think the holiday stream should be you using ChatGPT to just formulate all your answers.
No, here's my idea for next year. This is a year in advance exclusive.
Let's go.
Everybody. I'm gonna take like wrestler drops and play them. So I don't. It's gonna be a little difficult because like I don't always know the questions that are gonna be asked, but a lot of them are very formulated. Of like, hey, what was your favorite promotion? Who was your favorite wrestler to watch? Like a lot of people ask just like year end kind of stuff. So I'm gonna take drops from like wrestlers and go with that. The one where I pull a 20-minute Tony Khan answer is gonna be the best one because get ready for that one.
We're gonna end the stream early just for that one. I'm surprised they didn't try to pull the plug on you last night earlier.
I would have typed so much more. You guys were so quick with your plugs though that I could only type but so much in that time. So I typed the entire time that you guys were like doing your rundown of like, hey, follow me here. But then you guys were done. I was like, oh, okay, I guess I gotta be done with it. I was very proud of the last one where I did the full Tony Khan speech on there. So
if nothing else, we are word economists on this channel. We only use the words we need. We never repeat anything. We always make our points very succinct, and it makes this show just perfect.
Oh, perfect! It makes the show available. It makes the show here present. Makes the show present.
Do you want to add another word because we're in our word economy phase?
Makes the show great, tremendous. Those are the only two words that I know. If you took a shot every time that man said great when speaking about anything, you would be in the hospital for the rest of your life.
Yeah, it'd be pretty quick. Chi-Town Spurs did send a super chat. 3 years is impressive, to be honest. Yes, it's very impressive. Jeremy is a I can't put him over, so I'm not going to. Jeremy is he's good at this. Don't let him know that I said that, okay? Never ever. Anyway,
I'm okay. I'm good at bits. I commit to them. If nothing else, I will commit to it.
That's true. Let's commit to some conversation here before we do our thing at 11 o'clock. Where do we want to start? You watched Ring of Honor. You watched Final Battle. I know you enjoyed the show. Was it too long?
Do you know I enjoyed the show?
Oh, the lack of tweeting usually means that it was a good show.
The lack of tweeting means I'm busy.
Busy. That's right.
That's what I rarely tweet during wrestling shows. I do a couple of like jokes and stuff, but I don't tweet during wrestling shows because I'm usually very busy during them. I did enjoy the show, mind you. I did, but you didn't know that, Joel. You're just making assumptions based on I don't know why you make assumptions. You know I don't like wrestling. So why would you think that I enjoyed the show? It was a good show, though. I loved Athena and Billy Starks. We talked about who should win that, and we both, I think, kind of mentioned that if Athena wins, where does she go? If Billy wins, where does she go? It seemed like it might be too early for Billy. And that's, I guess, what they've decided. It was too early for Billy. Now we've got this ROH women's TV title. Is that going to be a consolation prize? Is like, how are they going to do? By the way, I think people are being very dumb of how they're reacting to this, of the too many titles things. There ain't too many women's titles in ROH. It's the second one. What did we say on this show a week ago, Joel? We need a main for the men's, a secondary for the men's, a tag team title, a main for the women, a secondary for the women. And if they can prove they can book a women's tag team division, do that as well. That's it. The problem ain't there's too many titles in ROH right now because they're introducing this women's TV title. The problem is there's too many men's titles in ROH. I don't need these 6-man titles. I don't need a pure and a TV title. I don't need all these titles. We got a world champion that's not a world champion right now in ROH. Like, there's too many men's titles in ROH. The women's division in ROH is good, and they actually get multiple matches on the show. There's multiple matches at Final Battle for the women. It's good. I think they should have a TV title. Prove you can book it correctly, but it should be there. Too many men's titles. Get rid of them. Men are overrated.
Wow. I mean, yeah, that's true. It's very, you know what? I don't know why I said wow. It's true. I can't even refute that. My general feeling is too many titles in that there are just across Ring of Honor and AEW. There are too many titles because they do cross over a lot. Again, I would say condense a few. The 6-man ROH tag titles can easily fold into the trios titles. If you're going to keep a trios division, just have them float between AEW and Ring of Honor. I would have, if you're doing a women's television champion, again, why not have the TBS title float between Ring of Honor and Collision? They tape on the same days. You have the roster depth between the two. There's room for it, but you just have to. There's a lot. There's just a lot, and a women's television championship on paper it makes sense given the depth, but it doesn't make sense given the amount of titles already in play between Ring of Honor and All Elite Wrestling. That's where my brain is. I don't know if you agree, or if you disagree, or if you see kind of where I'm coming from.
I see where you're coming from. I've always said that you gotta. I like the separation more. I understand the floating. I prefer the separation. So I'm not the biggest fan of like the trios champions floating between brands. The TBS champion floating between brands. The depth and stuff is there on both sides. I think trios makes a little bit of sense if you wanna float them. Um, the secondary women's title, I think you can do it in ROH and in AEW. I think you can. You know, the talent is there. The depth is there. You just got to commit to it. That's the biggest problem with all of this is they do these titles, but then they don't commit to any of it. She's like, here's some titles for the sake of titles. You had these trios titles in AEW, and it was good for a while. And then you took the Acclaimed off television for 2 months, and then they're back, and then they were attacked by the devil. They're going after him, but they've also got to defend these titles. After Top Flight and Action and Andretti, I don't know what trios champions you're going to have over here or what trios you have because you haven't done a ton of trios matches. So the problem is too many titles. The problem is also too many titles that you have no plan for, no commitment to. That's the problem.
Yeah. And again, like I see some pushback about the TBS title. I agree. They've done a really good job lately of making the TBS title more of a establishing stars title. It's become a mid-card women's title, which is great. I think the TBS title would be a great stepping stone to the AEW World Women's Championship if you're playing it that way. Now you've got to make the Women's Television Championship in Ring of Honor become the stepping stone to Athena and the Women's Championship in Ring of Honor as well. It is about how you book it. It is about how you put it together. At first I was like, we don't need this. The more I think about it, it's like, you could make this work, but you have to make sure that the other titles you have are either going to be taken care of, booked properly, or just turfed, which again, I would do that. That's where I'm at. The TV title, putting the TV title on Kyle Fletcher, for example, I think that's good for Ring of Honor because now you'll have Kyle Fletcher on TV on Ring of Honor. I think we're back to square one because Kyle Fletcher is still a member of the Don Callis family, at least as of right now. And it's just going to put him back on AEW TV, holding that Ring of Honor TV title and possibly making him defend it there instead of on Ring of Honor television, which is where it should be, in my opinion.
As long as Kyle Fletcher wrestles, I'm cool with that. I don't want him standing behind Don Callis just holding this title. Do I think he should be on ROH television wrestling? Yes. I don't need him defending the ROH TV title on AEW television. I don't like that. I don't like when the ROH champions are defending. I like the separation. That's what makes Athena special in ROH. Again, we can have a debate about whether she deserves to be in AEW. Yes, the answer is yes. But what is the reason people watch ROH for? It's Athena. Why? Because you can't see her in AEW. Make the same thing with the rest of these titles, and then ROH will feel like something. But Final Battle was a very good show. The 6-man, the tribute to Jay Briscoe match was fantastic. It was a fight without honor originally, but I think they just wanted Mark Briscoe to like curse, be like, fuck this. We're honoring my brother. We're just going to fight. So I like that. The 6-man, the survival of the fittest match was really good, especially the Kyle Fletcher and Commander finish. Like when it got to one-on-one against them, that was really good stuff. Really, really good. Maybe a little, all right, do we need to kick out of everything type of match? Like I get the complaints on there, but they sold me on a lot of those near falls. Both those guys are so good. Kyle Fletcher has a big time star presence and I look forward to his TV title run. Hopefully, the majority of it takes place on ROH TV. I would like to see that. What else was on this show? Eddie Kingston and Anthony Henry as a late addition. That was a fun match. Vikingo and Black Taurus was
Oh,
really
so good.
fun.
So much fun.
Yeah. That you knew that was going to be good because we've seen 100 Vikingo and Gringo Loco matches, and the very similar styles. Black Taurus and Gringo Loco are there to just like do cool shit with Vikingo. So that was a lot of fun. It's a good show overall. Really good show. Looking forward to whatever they have to follow. Like, I don't know what ROH is until we get the champion. Like when we get the champion settled at World's End, then we'll hopefully have an idea of what ROH is going into 2024. Yeah, Shane Taylor and Keith Lee. That match was a little tough because it followed the Fletcher and Commander sequence. And then it was like, oh, like now we got Shane. That was a good match. I'm going to be honest with people. Not super invested in Keith Lee.
Wow.
Just, yeah.
Welcome to the party, pal. Let me tell you.
Not super invested.
Let me tell you real quick. This was kind of my one thing about the Ring of Honor show being as long as it was. This was one thing that I would have been like, you can cut 5 minutes from this. It was about a 15-minute match. This was a hoss fight. It was two big dudes going at it. Are you drinking Dr. Pepper this morning?
Shoot Coke.
Oh, good stuff. Anyway, yeah, you could have cut 5 minutes off of that, made it a hoss fight, beat each other up, big power moves, slap each other spot, and then go through the barricade or whatever. Just a big man spot, and then go to the finish. And that would have been probably just as much fun instead of some of the stuff that they decided to pull out for those extra minutes on a match like this. They're big dudes. They're athletic dudes. We get it. But also, they're allowed to be big dudes who are just doing big dude spots on a show that's full of a lot of flips and a lot of like craziness. This could have been that meat match, but they went a different way. And again, I'm not gonna fault the artist, but I agree with you that Keith Lee isn't really doing much for me, and now he's calling out Swerve, and this is something else that's really bugging me. You basically just told me Swerve's not winning the anything going into World's End, and that he's out, and that the match is Keith Lee versus Swerve at World's End. You haven't officially told me, but like the way you're playing this, it certainly feels that way, unless they're going to wait and do it at Holiday Bash next week, or they're going to do it at the block final, whatever it is. They can't do the block final because they're hoping that Swerve would be in the block final.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, it's a very weird way to do it. And if anyone, I swear to God, if anyone tells me that this is long-term storytelling, I will smack you in the face. This ain't long-term storytelling. This is coming around to someone who's been begging for this match to happen. And it wasn't me begging, by the way, but it's happening.
It's a weird thing because I know people wanted the Keith Lee and Swerve match. I was one of them. I was like, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you capitalizing on this? It feels like the moment is past, and it feels like Swerve has outgrown this whole thing. And now you are just being like, okay, yeah, let's actually do this match that we should have done a year ago. It's like, Swerve is kind of past this, and Keith Lee ain't done anything in this last year.
And that's what I'm saying. If you do this match, I honestly just hope Swerve just kind of beats the shit out of Keith Lee and like makes him just another guy. And that's not a shot at Keith Lee as much as it is just what you're saying is like, Swerve is on a different level. Swerve has elevated his game. Swerve has become a main event player. Swerve has done so much more than Keith Lee has in the time that we've taken to get back to whatever this match is supposed to be. There's no rivalry renewal because both men are on very different tracks. If anything, Swerve should just beat up Keith Lee and be like, we're done here, and then walk away and let that be it.
Yeah. Keith Lee, Shadow's first saying Keith Lee and Brian Cage is going to hump, and then y'all feel it. I mean, Keith Lee has good matches, but that's not going to make me feel any different about him against Swerve. Him and Swerve is going to be a great match. I just think Swerve has moved past Keith Lee. Like Keith Lee he hadn't been on television basically all year. He was doing the team with Dustin. He lost to Samoa Joe to the point where Samoa Joe was like, none of these guys are worth anything. I'm going to vacate this title. And then he's won some It didn't even win ROH matches. He just beat Shane Taylor, just finished off the Shane Taylor feud, which was fine. But like, I'm not into Keith Lee. I don't think this does anything for Swerve if he beats Keith Lee. It's a nice bow on a feud that should have been put a bow on a year ago. And again, Swerve is past that. If Swerve was doing nothing, they'd be like, all right, cool. Let's come around to that. Swerve just beat Hangman Page in a Texas death match. Swerve is having these great matches against Moxley and Jay White in the Continental Classic. Like, Swerve is way past feuding with a dude who can barely get on television this year.
Yep. I have nothing else to add to that. It's just there.
Keith Lee lost to Chris Jericho earlier this year. Remember that?
Yeah. Remember how Chris Jericho elevates everyone he works with, though?
Oh man, best wishes to Kenny Omega, by the way. I know we were like talking about Kenny last week, and I think I even said that like Aiden wrestled a whole lot of singles matches this year. Like, I didn't know what was up with Kenny. He wasn't into the segment, clearly had other things on his mind. I will say, for the people who are like, oh, everybody's being too harsh on Kenny Omega, everybody's being too harsh. He went out there on television to perform. All right. Like, he went out there. We can only judge what we know, what we see on television. I think a lot of guys go out there with different stuff on their mind, and we're not privy to any of this kind of stuff. We're not. Once it comes out in after fact, it's very easy to be like, oh, sorry, and apologize for all of that. I'm going to equate this to sports and everything. When a guy goes out there and he's playing on a bum ankle and he has a bad game and everything, it's like, oh, well, he didn't play well. Maybe something's up with him. And then he comes out and he has a bum ankle. Okay, he went out there. He still tried to play. It wasn't great. He had a bad game. Kenny went out there. He tried to go through it. Clearly had other things on his mind. It wasn't good. He wasn't great in the segment. A lot of people weren't great in that segment. Bad segment. Clearly, Kenny had other stuff on his mind. Probably shouldn't have been out there. I think that's the biggest thing is, like, if you know something's up, if you know a guy has a bum ankle, if you know a guy is going through stuff, maybe don't put him out there on there. Sometimes you got to save these people from themselves. Best wishes to Kenny Omega, though, because it's reported diverticulitis. Who knows when he's going to be back? Hopefully he's back. Hopefully he's just healthy. Whenever Kenny's healthy, that's all I care about when it comes to wrestling. Not whenever he's back. Hopefully he's back. Hopefully he's back healthy. Hopefully he's back healthy for life, not wrestling. Hopefully he's back healthy for life.
Yeah, I echo the best wishes to Kenny Omega. That's tough, man. Diverticulitis it's the type of illness that is different for everybody. The way that it affects you. So the hope is that it doesn't kick him out for too long. But also, I really, 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 really hope that Kenny spends as much time as possible as needed to get back to 100%. Because I'm not going to say he rushed back from the last injury, but this is something that Kenny is nothing but passionate for wrestling, and I give him that every single time. He loves what he does. He came out, he was sick on Wednesday when he did that promo, and we talked about it at length, and so did many others, but he still came out and he still did it regardless of how he was feeling, because he loves wrestling, he loves the business, and he wants to be a team player. So I'll give him that completely. Again, and I'll, like Jeremy said, we can only do what we know and say what we know about, but it sucks, and we hope that he gets well soon. And I guess now shifting gears is what's going to happen to that story with Jericho and Big Billy Starks. Let's get to that in a second, but first I just want to hit a couple super chats. Chi-Town Spurs says, I don't necessarily agree with Joel that Kyle Fletcher winning the TV title would be bad necessarily. I'm just paraphrasing just to catch people up. And he says it reminds him of Dom with the North American title, but still being on Raw. And that's a good point. I don't disagree. Dominic brought up the North American title as an NXT title, as an important NXT title, up to Raw to get people thinking about NXT. Fletcher could do the same with the Ring of Honor TV title, but at the same time, Ring of Honor isn't outwardly described as a developmental territory for AEW. If it was, I would be fine with that. But as it stands right now, they kind of try to keep ROH on like this almost a half step down without telling you it's a half step down. There's no definition of what Ring of Honor is compared to our AEW.
they've also tried this. Samoa Joe had the TV title for a year on ROH television. The tag team champions, one half is literally the world champion in ROH. You wouldn't know it, but it is. Like, they've also tried, hey, here's the ROH titles on AEW. Eddie Kingston was defending the ROH title on AEW TV. Claudio, Jericho, they've done this. Like, it's not like a new revelation that, hey, an ROH champion is going to be on AEW TV. They've done this basically since the inception of ROH.
Remember when Jericho was world champion?
Yeah, I said that.
Yeah, it was a great time.
It was to get a TV deal.
Yeah, it's great.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. And Dwayne Pierre said to Super Chat saying, only Ring of Honor champs float. If you want to work with non-titled workers, you have to go to ROH. It's a point.
Yeah, I don't like the floating stuff. See, here's like my vision for ROH, and I get that, like, and who am I? That's Keith Lee. Keith Lee theme. Like, my vision for ROH is kind of what we saw at Final Battle, almost, of just I just need the separation there. And I need guys like Brian Keith. I need guys like Jack Cartwheel, guys like Titus Alexander, these top independent names. I need them established in ROH. I understand people want them on AEW TV. Brian Keith had some great performances this past weekend. I understand, like, wanting him on AEW television. I also think there's a lot of value to him just being a guy in ROH, being a top guy in ROH. This is, again, where I want the separation stuff. And maybe you can't do it, but I keep pointing to the Athena stuff. Is everybody saying, oh, Athena is the best stuff on ROH TV? Yeah, because she ain't on AEW television doing nothing every single week. That's why she's so great on ROH, because she's actually doing something that's established on ROH. Ethan Page and Tony Nese, why was that so great? Because it was a contained ROH feud. That's why it was great. And they actually gave it time. They did something with it. Take the people you're not using on AEW and put them at ROH and give them something establishing to work with. Take top independent guys, which is what ROH was built off of, and give them consistent roles on ROH television. What they're doing now is just like a lot of squash matches. Sometimes you do get a couple of feuds, and then, hey, let's throw the pay-per-view together 2 weeks beforehand and do some cool matches.
Yep. No notes. Moving back to Orlando. Let's go. No,
I mean, I know people wanted that. Claudio talk about how he wanted that. So I don't disagree with that, because it is very sad watching. This is probably me nitpicking here.
I love it.
I didn't like the setup for ROH Final Battle, because it was so, like, it was just the Collision and Dynamite set, because they just ran the same arena 3 times. It felt so upscaled for ROH, and I felt weird about it. And I know, like, they use the Collision set all the time anyway, because they tape with Collision, but for the ROH pay-per-views, usually they run that, like, scaled down set because it's in a different arena. I'm like, oh, this feels like an ROH show. Like, it feels a lot more intimate there with the ROH pay-per-views. I saw this big set. I was like, this just feels like it's the AEW set for Final Battle. I was like, I don't know. Maybe again, I realize that's nitpicking. I apologize to people for being that nitpicky.
I will add to this, and again, I don't really hate this nitpickiness, because I like nitpicking sometimes. But one thing that NXT was doing when they were Black and Gold, when they were running concurrent show, or not concurrent, when they were showing doing a show the night before a major pay-per-view, their set would be emulated on the set for the major show that WWE was doing the next night, but it wasn't the same set. You know what I'm saying? So they would kind of tarp off pieces of that set and use a little bit of it and not the entirety of it. So what you could have done, again, because we're on the topic and this is in the weeds, is you could have covered that big top video board and just had the 2 sides, and it would have been similar to what the last few Ring of Honor sets have looked like for pay-per-views. And that would have been fine. That would have been fun. But anyway, Ring of Honor. Sean's here. What are we egging today? Is it those tater tots?
No.
You got the wrong. I think you got the mic going now.
It's the right mic, Joel.
I just moved it out of the way.
Hello, Sean Rossap.
It's Biscuit Belly.
Biscuit belly.
I'm very excited. This opened up right after my match, and I don't have to eat like I've got any sense. I'm right now eating the Bow Nuts. I'm not sure why they call them B, but it's donut holes. I'll review them. They're quite bready, lightly dusted with I wouldn't say lightly dusted, but like the cinnamon sugar. And I've got the berry glaze to go over top of them. I'll let you know how that is.
Food reviews with Sean Rossap here this morning.
I feel like that's every time we do this.
Breakfast foods only.
Breakfast foods.
Only. Yeah.
The berry glaze is pretty good. The standard is the bourbon icing. And listen, I get it. We're in Kentucky. You put bourbon on everything. But listen, that's a good way to get me to not get whatever it is that you're shilling. Now, their whole gimmick is that they have very unhealthy sandwiches. So I got their Rockwell biscuit.
Good Lord.
That looks
And
good.
Joel, I got this without the sausage gravy. We'll test it out.
That's chicken, right? Chicken, egg, and cheese on a biscuit.
It's damn good chicken too.
Yeah, looks good.
Looks good.
That's fantastic chicken.
You can hear that crunch from far away.
Listen, I have found one really great chicken in Lexington, and that's Ramsey's Diner, which is right next door to this place. But this one gives it a run for its money. I might call them and say, take the 2 biscuits, shove them up your ass, and just give me the chicken. That's my food review. Pretty solid. Haven't gotten to the cheese. Hold on. It's cheddar. Of course
American
it's good.
cheese.
How can you screw up cheddar cheese?
So every time Sean comes on here, I'm just always very hungry. Always very hungry.
Listen, I had a lot of caffeine yesterday. My chest has been twitching a little bit.
Oh,
I'm
dear.
a little nervous to eat this. Got to be real.
Please don't die on us on this show.
Yeah, at least wait until you leave so you're not a liability. Oh, God.
I still have to give Jeremy access to the off the record document in case I die.
Oh yeah. I'll have all the notes from Sean. I just be doing select scoops for the next decade.
Exactly. Based on that, that's my contingency plan, is that Fightful survives, and hopefully my wife gets a little bit of income based on at least the residuals of that, based on me just, releasing Tupac level scoops afterwards. I wrote this scoop in 94. That's what it's going to be.
Wrote the scoop a long time ago. A really long time ago.
Jeremy can just copy and paste it over, and it's something I've written in like 2021. It is no longer even applicable or anything.
The Thunderdome was a very popular.
Oh, I've still got Thunderdome scoops in there.
Oh, I love it. Let's go.
At one point, that document had the Kevin Dunn Trump flag thing.
Oh,
because I didn't think I was ever going to be able to run that story. And then finally, a person who took the actual picture hit me up and said, you know what? I'm okay with you releasing this.
My God.
Feel me.
You feel me? That might be
what a great
doo-doo.
sketch. What a great sketch that was.
I go back to that one all the time. God, that's amazing.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good. So good. A show ahead of its time, and then something happened.
Way far behind of it.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Something happened.
20 minutes. We're gonna have a little TNA news. How about that? Let's go. Where are we at? We were talking Ring of Honor. Let's move on. You want to talk about Collision? Collision was a very, very fun show. I really enjoyed Collision this week.
It's a great show, tremendous show. One of the best Collision episodes ever.
Thank you. Absolutely. We'll start hot. We saw Thunder Rosa come back. She saved Abadon after they were getting beat down by Sky Blue, who aligned herself with Julia Hart, TBS champion. I don't mind this pairing of Thunder Rosa and Abadon. It's different. It's weird. Does somebody turn on the other, or are we just going to be friends until we want to go after the title? This was good. What do you think of this?
I liked it. I like the Thunder Rosa return. She's been doing a lot of media. They were in Texas, so it made a lot of sense. She said she wanted to come back the San Antonio episode in Texas. Well, she's getting her first match back in the San Antonio episode of Texas. So good. It's good to see Thunder Rosa back. She's been out over a year. Like, that's crazy to me, especially because people at the time were like, oh, is she really hurt? How hurt is she? Type of thing. Like, she's been out over a year with this. People are saying, shouldn't Thunder Rosa be going after Toni Storm? Yeah, 100%. She should. And I assume she'll get there, but she should be going after Toni Storm pretty quickly here. Tony's got other stuff on her plate. She's going to be facing Riho. I hope it's Riho. She's gonna be facing Rio at World's End, so we'll get that. But yeah, good to see Thunder Rosa back. Abadon, it's an interesting team. Looking forward to that. And then the Sky Blue stuff, like, she didn't turn, now she has turned, and she's joined Julia Hart. Maybe they stretched that a little too much. Like, I don't know if you fully needed all of that, but I like the pairing of Julia Hart and Sky Blue. It's a fun little pairing. Should be a fun match on Saturday. And then we got another women's match on Collision as well.
The annual street fights.
Yeah.
Willow and Chris Statlander taking on Diamante, Mercedes Martinez. You got the Pulp Fiction girls versus the I don't know what they were dressed as, but why don't you and I wear matching pants because we're tag team partners?
I told you, Joel, I don't wear pants.
That's a good point. Match was fine. Match was fun. They had thumbtacks and suitcases, but the one thing, if you're gonna do it, if you're gonna pull out thumbtacks from a briefcase and you're dressed up like Vincent Vega and oh my god, I just forgot the other guy's name. I forgot Samuel L. Jackson's.
Just Samuel L. Jackson.
Jackson's
Samuel L. Jackson.
That's gonna get me. And Pulp Fiction is one of my favorite movies, but it's too early on a Monday morning to remember it.
Never seen it.
Oh, one of my favorites. But anyway, they had to open up the briefcase, and they had to have Jules. Thank you, senior nerd. They had to have the light shining out of the thumbtack briefcase before they emptied it. That's the only note that I have. But otherwise, it was a fun tag match. It's a street fight. You can almost never go wrong. Cameraman, I'm gonna do production. Tell you right now. If you know that one of your talent is about to go and hide under the ring so they can blade, do not show me Willow Nightingale at the top of the match sliding her ass under the ring so she can blade. Otherwise, it was a fun match. I really enjoyed this. Where do we go now with these four, Jeremy?
I like the pairing of Willow and Chris Statlander. I don't know quite where they go because there's no women's tag team titles.
Yes.
Yet. So I'm not sure quite where they go. I would think that Stat would want the TBS title back, right? Like, she wasn't pinned in that match, so she should probably get like some type of rematch. I'm not forgetting she's not gotten like a one-on-one rematch, right? Like, my brain is not failing me here. Correct?
I don't think it is. No, Chris dropped it and didn't get a rematch. No.
Yeah, so I would think that Chris would probably want to get a rematch because Sky Blue was pinned off of Chris's move too. She hit the whatever she calls that thing now, Starlight driver, whatever. I forget what she calls it. And then Julia wiped it out with the clothesline and pinned Sky Blue off of Stat's finish. So I would think that Stat would want a rematch. So hopefully we get that sometime soon, because I think that should be what happens. Stat should get a rematch. She should get the one-on-one rematch there.
Yeah, I wanted this to turn into a four-way with Sky, with basically the four that were there: Sky Blue, Julia Hart, Willow, and Chris going after the TBS title at one point. Oh, and Mercedes and Diamante put themselves in. Either way, these women are now all going after the TBS title in some way, shape, or form once their tag teams kind of dissolve, right? That's the way that it feels. I do like, by the way, going back to Thunder Rosa, I like that she said she wants to come back in San Antonio. Makes sense. I love that they're giving her first match back with a week's notice in San Antonio. That gets people talking. That gets people excited. That's the stuff that I want. So I'm glad they did that. But yeah, going back to TBS title, you now have a crop of women who, while they're working in a tag format, they all have stakes and claims as they move forward for that TBS championship.
Yeah. Look, the TBS division, I guess it's a division, is heating up since that kind of is living on Collision, and the women's title is sort of living on Dynamite right now. But it's good. It was good to see a very nice showcase of women on Collision, on top of, Continental Classic continues to be really great professional wrestling. And I think this is what we talked about with AEW fans, is like, I think a lot of them just want great wrestling. And if you make that great wrestling meaningful, which is happening with Continental Classic, then that is the bread and butter. That's always been the bread and butter of AEW, not so much the hokiness and sports entertainment side of things. Yes, there is a place for that. But at the end of the day, I think for the most part, AEW fans want the just fantastic professional wrestling with stakes and stuff that means something, because they were still doing really good pro wrestling in the weeks, months where everybody was like, oh, AEW's dead, AEW's dead. They were still giving you great matches during that time. It's just a lot of those matches felt inconsequential. It's like, okay, here's a cool match. The winner just kind of like gains nothing out of it. The loser just is off television for 3 weeks afterwards. And then there's a bunch of hokey stuff on the side. It was just, the matches felt inconsequential. Now, because of the Continental Classic, the matches obviously have plenty of purpose, plenty of consequence. And so that's what people want. And so good on them. Bring back the rankings.
Well, let's talk Continental Classic because the rankings are only available there. What are we at here? We've got Andrade and Danielson both have 9, and then it's a 3-way tie with 6 points. Brody King, Claudio, and Eddie Kingston. First of all, Eddie and Daniel Garcia. We talk about that match real quick. That was
fun. It was fantastic.
It was really good stuff. I really enjoyed it. Daniel Garcia, basically,
so good, man.
It was very good, and it's
gonna suck. Sorry to cut you off, Joel. It's gonna suck when Daniel Garcia is Chris Jericho's partner.
I feel like it's gonna be Sammy Guevara, and they're just gonna reunite the Sex Gods.
I don't think you can do that after that turn. Like, nah, you can't. You can't do that. So Chris Jericho
said, "Baby, he's a baby face now for all intents and purposes."
Chris Jericho said something interesting on the podcast when he was like reviewing his 2023, when they were trying to figure out ideas for who the partners were going to be for the street fight, and they said it was going to be somebody who had like turned and they were going to like realign with him, and he's like, maybe we'll keep that one in the back pocket. I don't know who he's talking about. Jeff Valley Driver, I think you're actually correct. That was my initial thought. It was going to be Coda. It was going to be Coda.
That sounds awful. Let's go. Also, I will shout out Jeff Valley Driver for calling him Jarabushi. They'll come out on bicycles.
That was my initial thought. It was going to be Coda with Jericho replacing Kenny. I could see Daniel Garcia. I hope that's not the, unless Garcia goes back with Jericho, they lose. Chris gets pinned. And then Daniel Garcia is like, fuck all of this.
I can't win a match to save my life. Brody King and Daniel Garcia next week on the show. That's going to round out that. But what is that, the Brody King loss? And Daniel Garcia finally gets a win?
Yeah, I think Garcia wins that one. Brody King needs a lot of help because he doesn't have the tiebreakers over Danielson or Andrade. There's a lot of convoluted scenarios, that I don't fully see playing out. Because like if Brody King wins and Claudio wins and Eddie win, then it becomes another 3-way gimmick. Like it could be possibly for the Dynamite League as well. There's a lot of different scenarios. I don't think Brody King's winning though. I think that's Garcia's one victory. I think Garcia finally gets a victory in this, and it's against Brody King. So that would effectively eliminate Brody King. I think Brian. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I thought we were moving on. Keep going.
I think Brian beats Claudio, and I think Andrade beats. Oh, I don't know, because Andrade and Bryan 3 makes sense to me, but also Kingston makes sense to me to be there as well.
Does it?
Yeah, Eddie makes sense because Eddie might win this thing. I do like your theory of Jay White, but again, you need Jay White and Eddie Kingston though. I think that's a good match to make on there. So Eddie makes sense to. I think Bryan definitely beats Claudio, and then it comes down to Andrade and Kingston. Whoever wins that gets in, because that would be the tiebreaker there essentially, because Andrade and Kingston would have the same amount of points, but Kingston has the head-to-head win, so he moves on.
All right. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just looking at the table, and like you said, it's very convoluted, and that's not a bad thing in this case, because we talked about the Gold League last week on Friday, and we kind of came to a few different conclusions that didn't involve as many tight point scenarios, because you only have two people tied for 9 points, and that's Swerve and Jay White. And then on the other side, you've got Roosh, and who's got 6 points, and Jon Moxley has 12. But then we got a 3-way tie in the Blue League, and a top level 9-point tie as well for first place. So there's more moving parts in the Blue League, which is not a bad thing. It's just it's moving forward. And if you think that this product is ice cold, then I'm sorry, you're just not enjoying wrestling right now. That's just you.
Yeah, look, people got different opinions on wrestling. If you don't like a lot of great wrestling matches with stakes and stuff, that's your opinion.
And again, that's why I said this once, I'll say it a million times. When it was announced, I was excited for this. When it started, my excitement level wasn't as high, because guess what? You can only tell so many stories at the beginning of a tournament. As we've gotten deeper, I've become invested. I've become invested because not only is there some points and rankings involved, but also there are little stories that are playing out with people who are winning and people who are losing. We talk about Daniel Garcia. He hasn't won a match yet. There have been moments where it looks like he's going to win because he's going to drop the dance or he's going to find his way back into it, and then he doesn't. That's a story. Jay Lethal, again, this is another guy who's lost all throughout the tournament. This is an opportunity for him to either play spoiler on Wednesday, or he's going to lose again, and he's going to go on a 2024 without Jeff Jarrett and friends because he's frustrated and he's over it and he wants to be taken seriously. There are stories that are developing out of a tournament, and that's the way a tournament should go. It shouldn't just be matches for matches' sake. Then, what are we doing here?
Jay Lethal should go to ROH.
I don't disagree, but then he's got to go and beat Kyle Fletcher for the TV title.
And have to do any of that stuff.
Well, he has to win the title. He should win every title.
Nah, and have to. Jay Lethal should be in ROH. The Continental Classic is very good. I'm looking forward to how they finish this, because they got multiple options. You kind of sold me last week on your Jay White winning scenario, Jay White, Eddie Kingston in the finals. You sold me on that. So we'll see if that's the way they end up going, but should be a fun final league week for the Continental Classic. Yeah,
I'm looking very much forward to it. Hey, our TNA guest is early. That doesn't happen here. What are we doing? And she, what's even better? And I just gave it away that the gender, it's a she. And she even did the thumbs up, which is what I always do. And I say, are you ready to come and hang out with us? But it looks like she is. Let me preface this. This is a lot of fun for us. We get to make a little announcement this morning that last weekend at Impact Final Resolution, after the show went off the air, Scott D'Amore made the announcement that David Penzer, who was the ring announcer, is going to be wrapping up his time with Impact for now. We are very delighted, very excited, and very much looking forward to having a chat with the new TNA Wrestling ring announcer, the one and only Jade Chung. Hi, Jade.
Hello, guys. Oh my gosh. I just listening to you say that it just made my heart dance so much. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Congratulations.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Let's hop right into this. You've been doing some ring announcing with TNA with Impact for the last little bit. You've been working primarily on BTI. How did this all come about and kind of lead us up to this moment where this is now the gig?
Well, honestly, Scott D'Amore just kind of gave me that chance. And I'll tell you a little funny story to start off. I always hated my voice, and I mean hated. And now I know a lot of people don't enjoy their voice, but I hated my voice. promos I did not enjoy. I did them, didn't enjoy them because, again, I could hear myself. But he was like, Scott likes to challenge me. And I took it full force. I was going to prove to him that I could do this. And, you know, my kids are watching, my husband's cheering me on. So this was something that I truly had to succeed in. So Scott was just like, we're going to get you to host. And then it turned into, we're going to get you to start ring announcing some BTI matches. And I got to tell you, I fell in love almost instantly. And I say almost only because I was so nervous. I have never done any type of ring announcing ever in my life. So I was so nervous, but I fell in love with it. And with the help with Tom Hannafin, I remember it to this day, it was Chicago, and he saw I was visibly nervous, and he kind of just pulled me aside and gave me some words of super encouragement that helped me to this day. And he has helped me so much. Him, along with Matthew Raywald and David Penzer, they have always been so supportive.
Did get advice from David Penzer. You're kind of replacing him as he's departing as the switch over from Impact to TNA. So did you talk with David and kind of what advice did he give you?
David has always been supportive, as I've said. He hypes me up. I told him, when I thanked him, I told him that I hope to make him proud. And he said he had no doubt and he'll be watching. So that already meant so much to me. He was always there, you know, right in the beginning when I was first announcing, he would text me, you know, where the guys were from, where the girls were from, and just made sure that I knew what I was saying. If I wanted to relay things back to him, he was there to listen. He always made sure to tell me, hey, I'm here if you need me. But the guys there, they were so supportive. I keep saying that, I know, but it warms my heart, and I truly do not believe that I would be in the position as I am today if I didn't have those that help from the three guys. And I do have to mention Greg Hamilton. Tom actually put me in contact with Greg, who used to be a ring announcer for WWE, and he took 1 hour of his day to just talk to me and help guide me through being comfortable in front of the mic and listening to my voice and kind of just walking me through. And I didn't even know it was like almost like a therapy session, but he was walking me through my thought process. And it was almost like he said, you know, you've got this. You just got to get past that wall that you built up for yourself. Once you get past that wall, you are just golden. So that helped a lot too.
So what was that moment? Because I'm hearing you talk about not loving your voice, and a lot of broadcasters like myself have that same feeling. We listen back and we cringe a little bit, but here we are. What was that moment that you heard yourself or saw yourself and you said, oh no, I've got this?
Honestly, it was my kids. We would always listen back because I forced myself to listen to myself back because, you know, you approve or you not approve, you get better if you listen to yourself and you see those little tweaks that you need to make. My kids would cheer and scream. And so I was like, okay, like I think I'm getting my groove. And once I got to know where everybody was from and I got to start announcing, you know, some of the guys and girls more than once, I had that confidence that I didn't know that I had. Once that confidence came through, like I was just able to just get my voice out there. And it was one of those times where in the movies where someone like sings for the first time and then they hit that high pitched note and they're like, oh, that was me. And I was like, oh, okay, I've got this. Let's do it.
Has any of the wrestlers or anybody given you feedback on like, hey, pronounce it this way instead of this way? Do do something here, change things up. We see that in other companies with ring announcers and saying, hey, like do a little inflection here to add to it. Has anybody given you any type of feedback like that?
If I ask for it, but I think everyone is just so amazing that maybe they're scared to be like, oh, do it this way type thing, because that could be intimidating for someone to be like, oh, I'm not saying it right. But I will say that with any international superstar we have in, I always go to them to make sure that I'm pronouncing their name properly. Even so, right before going out, if I'm going over, where they're from, their names just out loud, I have had one stop me and be like, "Oh, just so you know, it's pronounced this way," like a little. It's just like a little tiny, like pitch, like a little high pitch accent. And I was so grateful. I was like, "Oh my goodness, thank you so much," because no one wants to have their name mistaken, and of course, no one wants to announce their name wrong.
I want to go back. You mentioned your kids helping you out. At one point, now that you're going to be holding a microphone beyond the barricade, we have to go back a year to when Bully Ray called his shot against Josh Alexander, your husband and former TNA World Champion, or Impact at the time. Talk to me about working with Bully Ray, because there was a very tense scene when Bully finally called his shot, where he had you and he had Josh kind of cornered. And well, let's talk about that scene and working with Bully that last year.
Well, I'm not gonna lie, I was nervous when Bully came out after Josh's match with Eddie Edwards. I was nervous, of course, because Bully is a legend. He's been in the game and we've known him to play dirty, probably a lot more than he does play by the rules. So I was nervous. And later on, when Bully was being Bully, I was scared, not for my husband, because I know he is 1000% capable, but for my kids watching. They've never seen me get physical at all. And I knew that I was not going to let anybody talk, do anything to my family, because my family is super important. So I was ready for, well, as you can see, I was ready to stick up for my family and to fight for them.
Just give Bully a swift kick to the dick. That's all you got.
Oh my God.
Hey, the man has made a living out to yelling, "My balls!" So you gotta give him that.
Jet had a good laugh of that. Yes. He was like, oh.
How we've seen you be on television and you're comfortable. That was an uncomfortable scene with Bully, but comfortable in storylines. But how comfortable are you with a potential storyline of like, hey, this person, you're gonna have to announce that your husband has lost this match, and basically, like, we know the relationship between you and Josh. Basically, you being brought into a storyline in that way. How comfortable are you with that?
I've been in the wrestling business for 20 years now. I just passed my 20-year anniversary, so I'm ready for everything. But obviously, my big focus, and I'm just excited to be the new TNA ring announcer and to be able to represent the Knockouts in that way. So we've got like the Knockouts doing their thing, fighting in the ring, and we've got Gia doing interviews in the back. Like, I'm just so happy to be able to give my input and to continue to show why the Knockouts are the best.
Is this going to be your first time in Vegas, or have you been to Las Vegas before?
The city, I've been.
You've been
several times. Yes, I've been several times.
I'm looking
and
forward.
Especially,
oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, no. Especially with Bound for Glory, where Josh won the title against Christian Cage, and then good old Moose just coming in, interrupting. But yes, Vegas is very exciting. I'm so happy and so excited to be there.
I caught a lot of flack for calling that when Moose called in. Anyway, let's talk Vegas for a second because I'm going to be in Las Vegas for Hard to Kill and for the Snake Eyes TV tapings. Looking forward to seeing everyone there. Let's talk
Yay.
favorite Vegas tourist traps because I know you got one you gotta love.
Oh, Vegas tourists?
Yeah,
stuff?
Vegas
Is that what
tourist
you said?
trap. Yeah, your favorite Vegas tourist trap.
Oh. Oh my gosh. What did the one thing I told my husband we have to do this time is go to the Venetian and do the gondola. That is my number one thing on the list. When my husband and I went on a date like 7 years ago, that was the one thing I wanted to do. We did that, and I think it'd be so cool since we're going to have the kids with us. I think it'd be really special if all four of us were able to go on the gondola this time around.
I gotta ask about your husband's match against Will Ospreay, the one that he recently had, and then the one coming up that you'll be doing the ring announcing for at the Snake Eyes tapings. Like, what was the feeling around him, before, after the match, and now going into the rematch in Las Vegas? What's it like being around him, I guess, for these big high profile matches?
He is quite annoying because he is because he's so super focused. He's always is with his eating, his workout regime, everything he does for himself here at home. It is all to prep for his wrestling matches. So, and I say annoying in the most loving way, of course. And I might be biased, but I am just looking forward to be able to announce his name in a TNA show. So, yes, part 2 of Josh Alexander versus Will Ospreay will be at Snake Eyes. That is night 2, when we're going to be at the Palms Casino Resort on January 14th.
Once upon a time, Trey Miguel told me that the best shoe game in TNA and Impact belonged to Chris Bay, and then followed by himself, and then followed by Moose because Moose just had the most amount of shoes.
Yeah, he's annoying.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you. We'll talk more about Moose in a minute. Who's top of the shoe game in now TNA? And you also have a claim to fame with shoe game. Let's talk.
Oh, let's talk. Yes, let's talk about sneakers. The most, okay, I'm gonna have to say Moose because he's so annoying that he has so much, and I'm just so jealous over his collection. Moose is the type of guy that he's got so many shoes that he'll just buy a pair and forget he already has a pair of it. So that's what makes it annoying the most, because I would love to have a gazillion pairs of shoes that are the same too. So I would have to say Moose is the big shoe guy. I love sneakers. I'm huge into Jordan, and my husband and I have this thing where basically every anniversary we gift each other a pair of shoes. Easy for him, because he knows I love anything Jordans. For Josh, he loves anything bright, crazy colors, which is kind of hard to shop for sometimes. But the shoe thing for us is special because we wore matching pair of Jordans on our wedding day. So, I've got quite a lot of shoes that I now don't know where to put them. So I am quite proud of that.
We'll get you a new house with a new shoe closet.
That's what I'm saying, Josh. Please get me a built-in shoe closet. That's, just putting that out there.
It's Christmas, That's
Yes,
it's a good gift right
Christmas.
there. Right. What are the Christmas plans around there?
Christmas plans. Well, we always see my brother and his family on Christmas Eve because my sister-in-law is Swedish. So their Christmas is always celebrated on the 24th. So we always do Christmas there. And then we're going to come home, get ready for the night, and get ready for Christmas morning because, Mommy Claus comes out and she just wants to make everything so special for her family.
I love it. Okay, here's the last question for you. This is a very fun game that we play called Partner promo, punch in the face. We're going to give you 3 names of TNA/Impact wrestlers. You're going to tell me which one you want to partner up with in a tag team match, which one you want to have a promo off with in the ring, and which one you want to punch in the face in a singles match. These are people very near and dear to you and your husband.
Okay.
Moose, Bully Ray, and Steve Macklin. Jade Chung, partner promo and punch in the face.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm gonna punch Moose for several reasons that we've already mentioned here. I'm gonna have a promo off with Bully because I truly believe he is one of the best in the game. And I would partner up with Steve Macklin because I love Deonna Purrazzo. So
It's the
That's how
only
it usually
answer.
goes with Macklin. Everybody loves Deonna, not him. Not him. I'm a big fan of Macklin myself.
I am not.
He's-
He and I have a fight brewing.
Ooh, he's rolling up the sleeves there.
Yeah, tell him I'm after him. Don't worry. He couldn't show up in
boy.
Toronto at Final Resolution, but let's see if he pulls up in Las Vegas at the Palms Casino Resort for TNA's Hard to Kill on January 13th, 2024. A couple of short weeks away. And the Snake Eyes tapings the next night on January 14th at the Palms. Jade, once again, congratulations. The new
Congratulations. Yes.
new voice of TNA Wrestling. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Let everyone know where they can find you at, Jade.
Oh, you guys can find me on all socials, Twitter, Instagram at JadeChung11.
There we go. Congratulations once again. We look forward to seeing you on our TVs very soon on TNA Wrestling.
Yay. Merry Christmas, guys. Thank you.
Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
There we go. The one and only Jade Chung. Congratulations to her, the new TNA Wrestling ring announcer.
Big congratulations to Jade. That's a good move by TNA. Very good move by TNA/Impact. Soon to be TNA in less than a month now. Wow, less than a month.
It's wild to think about. I'm planning out my travel. Well, my travel's planned out. My hotel's planned out. I'm just planning what's going to happen next when I touch down in Las Vegas for those shows.
Fight Steve Macklin is what you should do, Joel.
Man knows I'm after him, but he's got to get booked first.
Wow.
Then we'll talk. Just saying.
I feel like he'll be on those shows, right? Like he's got to be.
I think he should be on those shows. Absolutely. Listen, here's the thing. Well, I think Steve Macklin is a good wrestler. I think Steve Macklin is a talented person in that ring. Doesn't mean I don't want to beat him up. I think he should be in Las Vegas at Hard to Kill, at the Snake Eyes tapings. I think he should be on TV, plain and simple. Right now, he's not. I get why. It's a busy time for Impact in that they are doing a changeover. Hell, this week is going to be Best of 2023 Part 1. So he'll be on the show, but it won't be fresh content from Macklin. But we need fresh Macklin content. We'll get you fresh Macklin content, I guess.
I like Steve Macklin. I know you're not a big fan of him. Like, rightfully so. He wants to beat you up. So I get it. But I like Steve Macklin. He should be on those shows, man. Give Steve Macklin a chance to beat up Joel Pearl.
# give Macklin a chance. Something I hope to never do. Oh my God. There you go. That was fun. It was fun to have Jade. Thanks again to TNA Wrestling for always being accommodating and giving us someone to chat with, especially going into the holiday season and the busy season and the rebrand season. It's a good time. What else do we want to do? Are we done with AEW stuff? Are we ready to transition over to other stuff? What are we doing?
I mean, yes. I wanna bring this up because
all right.
It was hilarious to me. So Tony in this press conference, oh man, I was working till 3:00 on Friday, Joel.
I tried to warn you. That's 2 a.m. for him. That's when he usually finishes. So that's why it happened. It's 2 a.m. on the East Coast, but yeah, you get it.
And we don't need the 3 a.m. press conference for ROH. The thing is, they don't start. It took 45 minutes for the thing to start. Like, what are we doing?
So we gotta play this banger for an hour.
They didn't even have that music going.
No,
no, they didn't even have the music going.
We're washed. It's over.
Yeah,
AEW needs a reset after all. It starts with that music being the absolute banger that it is at the forefront of every single show that they do. Anyway, continue.
So the Tony's press conference, and the first answer he took the scenic route. First answer, asked about Warner Brothers Discovery and took the scenic route. His thing where he's like, to be AEW is to be constantly under attack rules so much, because it's just like, it's just dorks online. Like, no one's storming the AEW offices with, like trying to take over AEW headquarters.
Could you imagine? It's just a bunch of people showing up at Daly's place, and Daly's place being like, it's not here. This ain't it."
Right.
They'll be like, well, we'll go find them at the game. And then they go all buy tickets to the Jags game. And then it's like, well, they're not here either. Well, let's sit and watch the Jaguars then.
It just rules to me that, like, when Tony, I love his seriousness of this, by the way. I don't want anybody to think I'm knocking Tony. Like, Tony Khan is legitimately, like, gives me the most, right or wrong, the most entertainment out of, like, anybody in wrestling. But he's like, we're constantly under attack. Like, he's like the commander in office over here of like, we're flanked in the left, we're outmanned on the right, we got to get more troops over here on the right because they're coming from all angles over here. It's just like, it's just nameless and faceless dorks online that are just attacking. Like,
Tony, hold on, Tony. First of all, Tony's like he's the admiral. He has a commander. He was in the television championship. Sorry, I had to make the joke.
It rules so much. It rules. Like, we're constantly under attack. Everybody, we're trying to get a ceasefire with them, but they won't do it. They won't come to the table for our treaty negotiation.
Not the treaty.
Like, Tony, just block these people. Just block these idiots. Like,
I know it happens. I've seen dorks get all excited. Oh, Tony, he blocked me on the internet. It's like, cool. It's yeah, the warring against the bots was a thing for a while. Remember when everyone was a bot?
Oh, that was so much fun. Yeah, that was so much fun.
And the thing is, like, I understand what he's saying, but I think he just takes it to the nth degree that it becomes a conversational joke for both of us, because, like, we get it, but also when we give our criticisms of AEW or Ring of Honor, we do it with the hope that the product gets better. We do it with the hope that we can sit and enjoy whatever's coming next. We don't do it with the express intent of the company going under, because that's bad for everyone.
Oh, that would suck.
That would suck. It would objectively suck. Fewer people would have where to work, fewer people would have what to watch, and we would be back to a monopoly-based companies building one wrestling company for their own vision. And that doesn't work. We've seen this. We had 20 plus years of that. Bless TNA, bless Impact. They tried for a long time, but it took a lot of money to get where we're at now with AEW in the fold. I don't want AEW to go anywhere. I don't want Ring of Honor to go anywhere. I don't want anyone to go anywhere as long as they are producing quality content. I will never call for the end of anyone or any company. It is a lot of people who are already not tuning in, probably will not be tuning in, and just want to yell at the four walls in their padded white rooms instead of actually, giving it a shot and saying either this isn't for me, or no, okay, maybe I'll come back next week and try again, or I'll tune in when this person's on my TV because I like this wrestler or I like this talent. Those are the people you should be going after, Tony. You should be after the people who want to see their favorite wrestler or their favorite characters on their screen. And then you bring them into the rest of the fold and the rest of the universe. That's what you do. You don't say we're under attack and oh my God, we're going to die. It's like, what are we doing?
Here's the thing. It's like, that's AEW. And we've talked about this of like, AEW was the alternative, and they were the alternative because WWE sucked. And so AEW, the rallying cry was, we're not WWE. And the rallying cry is WWE is trying to squash the pissant t-shirt company. Right? Like, that was the rallying cry. And that's when it felt like AEW lost its way for a little while. It's like, wow, now you're just becoming WWE light. Like, the rallying cry doesn't make a lot of sense right now. And now they've rewrited. The feeling has been restored with the tournament and everything. But like, I get why he does it. I get that rallying cry of we're under attack type of thing. It's like I just hope Tony knows the difference between idiots who are going to complain about everything and people who actually have good faith criticism, who want the product to be better, who are longtime fans and still support and just want to see a better alternative and a better a better product, because there is a big difference between the two, and I don't want that to be actually lost when Tony does the we're constantly under attack type of thing, because every company in that case is under attack because all these idiots got something to say about every single company.
Yeah, exactly. And it's all about how you attack or don't engage with it, because there are just as many people going after everybody else for whatever reasons that are just no one pays attention.
I do agree with this, by the way. It's not always just randoms. It is a lot
That's
of
fair. Yeah.
It is a lot of podcast people who think their opinion means more. I hate this, by the way. I absolutely hate this of the podcast generation. Just everybody has the voice, right? And it's just like, it's an opinion on a lot of this. And I hate, like, I'm a news writer. I think people know that. So I write a lot of various articles. I write a lot of opinion piece articles, not my opinion, but like, this person gives their opinion on this. This person gives their opinion on this. And it could be good stuff. It could be like, John Moxley thinks Bryan Danielson is the greatest wrestler in the world. He's correct. But at the end of the day, it's an opinion, right? A lot of these people who are out of the wrestling business, who have no ties to the business anymore, they might talk to people, but like, they're not inside. They're giving their opinion on this stuff. And because they accomplished something 20 decades ago, that's actually a lot, 20 years, sorry. 2 decades, 20 years. 20 years ago.
You're good at math. It's okay.
Yeah. Like, they think it matters. And like, it doesn't. It doesn't. It means as much as mine does. And I don't think mine means a whole lot. I appreciate, to be honest with everybody, I appreciate everybody who tunes in. I appreciate everybody who supports. I appreciate everybody who thinks highly of me in one way or another. I do think I'm very good as a news writer. I think I'm very good at delivering news and things like that. I don't think my opinion on this shit matters at all. I appreciate that you guys watch us and that you interact with us and engage with us. I don't want anybody being mad or like taking any type of anything I say and put like any kind of weight into it, because it is just my opinion, and I don't think my opinion matters any more than anybody else's. Will I put weight in like John Moxley's opinion on certain things because John Moxley has been in the ring or is actually in this certain company? Yes. Do I think what John Moxley has to say about Grayson Waller means anything? Not really, because I don't think he's ever wrestled Waller. I don't know if he's had a single interaction with Waller.
Guaranteed he has not.
He probably has maybe watched like one segment of Grayson Waller and just like, yeah, sure, he's the Miz. It's like, oh, no.
High praise.
I mean, honestly, it is. Grayson Waller said as much. But like, we just can't put stock into opinions of these people that aren't actually part of the business anymore just because they accomplished something. So I wasn't going to give this person attention, but there was an article written about a former, I'm not even going to say his name, a former WCW WWE writer who is literally living off of one thing. And the article written was, this person thinks you shouldn't get into the wrestling business. And I'm thinking, you got into it had like a 3-year run and are still living off of that 20 years later. You should get into the wrestling business because that doesn't happen anywhere else. If you're in any other business and you did something 20 years ago and you were good, you weren't even good at it, but like you accomplished something for like a short stretch and then you failed everywhere else. And then for 20 years, you've done nothing, but somehow you are still living off of that. That doesn't happen in a lot of other lines of business. Everybody should get in the wrestling business. Sorry.
Yeah, I should
Sorry
fight
for the
Steve
rant
Macklin.
there.
That's all. I should just fight Steve Macklin, is what you're saying.
Sometimes I feel this show is under attack, Joel, and that people are taking our opinions and they are putting too much stock in them and they don't like this show. If you don't like it, don't watch.
No, stop it. Everyone has to watch this show. That's what we're here for. Clicks and views.
Put your money where your mouth is.
Your money where your mouth is. By the way, I just saw your header there, Attack Wrestling. I thought you were just a big fan of Attack Wrestling out in the UK.
It was, it was tongue in cheek of that as well.
Their next show, by the way, is the same night as the Royal Rumble, so you can go.
Oh, fucking great!
What was that, the 27th of January? Yeah, that's the Rumble.
This is yeah. I mean, I do wonder that. Like, I don't think they pay attention to it. Is the thing. I think some people do. I don't think Sting is fucking worried about like what Bischoff thinks about AEW.
Could you imagine, bro? Could you imagine? Sting gets it from Ric Flair. Flair gets it from Bischoff. and just the
I know Flair doesn't care about what Bischoff thinks.
That's
like,
fair.
This is what the old timers think. Well, I went through this exact same thing in this company, so the end result will be the same. A lot of them, yeah. And that's what I don't like about the online stuff is like everybody just wants to doom and gloom WCW without recognizing why WCW actually kind of like went under. Because it could have continued to exist had Eric Bischoff kept the money into it and just ran it and searched for a different TV deal or just ran live event shows and things like that. It would have bled money, but it could have continued to exist. But once Turner turned out and said, yeah, we're not giving TV, Bischoff was like, well, it ain't profitable without TV, so I don't want it anymore. And that's why it went under. Look at how long Impact has existed. And yeah, it took a lot of people throwing a lot of money into it. It took them, a television company buying them to get them on a television home. It takes a lot.
I'm gonna bring this up real quick. Norris earlier said TNA's been dealing with this for decades. They don't whine and complain. They just try to do better. And it's not that they didn't whine and complain. Certain regimes did.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. But even the current regime under Scott D'Amore has been like, let's just focus on a good product, focus on being different, and focus on the talent that we have. I swear to God, I hate being such a homer for one company sometimes, but if Impact Wrestling had the ability and the money that AEW had, then it would be a different conversation about people's perception of TNA, in my opinion. Nowadays, and like, again, it's subjective. I get it. That's not me saying one is better than the other. I just think that in the terms of like class warfare, or who has money to do things like get a TBS deal, who's connected better to get a television deal with someone like Warner Brothers Discovery, I think that if Impact had, or TNA now as they're called, had that same connection, we would be speaking differently about TNA now than we have in the last 5 years even. They're a different company now than they were even 5-6 years ago. 10 years ago, people were calling for its demise. They were writing the obituary. Every year, 10 years ago, people were writing the obituary for Impact and for TNA. It was over. It was done. You had guys like Austin Aries, we talked about it on the show, going into a match with John Morrison, no selling the finish, and then afterwards saying, oh, it was all part of a gimmick. We were just trying to work each other. And no, it wasn't. It was just Austin Aries being a piece of shit. But the point being is that sometimes it just comes to like having the right talent at the right time, doing the right thing. It's just better when there's more opportunity out there. And I hope more people put more stock into spending time watching the companies that are providing those other opportunities as well.
Let's talk about watching a certain company, specifically the WWE. In WWE SmackDown, AJ Styles is back. They don't want none, Joel. LA Knight don't want none. AJ attacked him, setting up potentially. Can we do spoilers? Are people going to get mad at us of what they set up?
Chat, if you don't like it, tell us now. But I will say this. He don't want none.
They don't want none.
This is you know what this was? This was AJ Styles attacks LA Knight at the end of SmackDown, which surprised a lot of people, myself included. But the black jeans should have given it away to everybody.
It's a heel. Yeah.
That's a heel move. Damn it. Anyway, AJ attacks LA Knight, and immediately I'm like, when was the last time these two interacted? They didn't have any TNA crossover. I knew that immediately, and then I was like, last time they was like NXT 2.0. When Styles came around and was like, this is the guy for NXT 2.0. He's going to be the flag bearer. And now you got AJ Styles taking back that flag and wanting to plant it right into the back of LA Knight.
I like this, by the way. Like Styles coming back, going from the bloodline made sense since Solo was the one who took him out. But then AJ going after LA Knight, like, made some sense too, because LA Knight kind of took his spot. I mean, AJ was going to team with Cena, and then LA Knight, once AJ was out, LA Knight took that spot. So if I'm AJ, I'm like, no, I'm here. I'm back. I'm the face that runs the place, right? Like this is my brand.
It's the house that AJ Styles built.
Yeah. So I like that he went after LA Knight because he didn't go after Orton. He got respect for Randall. No respect for LA Knight. So I kind of like that he went after LA Knight because, again, if you remember that LA Knight took his spot, AJ, you're like, all right, I see how you're playing the game, how LA Knight's game works here. So I liked it. And it's going to set up a match in the coming weeks.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I'm excited for this because I don't think that this is AJ Styles turns heel. I think this is AJ Styles has a legitimate gripe, having been off TV. He wants his spot back. This is a Drew McIntyre style story. It's similar to what we're doing. It's shades of gray. He's not hating against all the baby faces. He's hating against the guy who took his spot, who happens to be a baby face. So people will make their decisions based on whether or not they like LA Knight. For example, Steven Jensen is going to be so excited that AJ Styles is back, and he's going to think AJ Styles is the perennial babyface in this whole story. I get it. Will Chisholm wants us to spend a few seconds talking about how jacked AJ Styles is.
He was, dude. Looking jacked, baby. Looking real jacked.
Looking real jacked, baby. You look good. At the same time, there's a joke that like fat dudes with body hair could just shave a six-pack into their stomach and it would make the same. When I saw the photo, I was like, did he just shave a six-pack into his tummy? Is that what we're doing? But no, AJ looks good. He looks great. Good for him. When you're off TV, when you're off the road, and if you're serious about, your body and working out and everything, you're going to spend the time. That's why everyone comes back looking bigger, looking more jacked, because guess what you get to do? You get to spend your time working on your physique and not worrying about making the next town, eating clean on the road, which doesn't exist. That's a fallacy right there. But either way, AJ's at home. He gets to eat what he eats. He gets to work out how he works out, train how he trains. And as a result, he gets to look the way he does. We'll see what happens in a few months. I hope he keeps it up. I'm just saying, when you come back looking jacked, doesn't always stick.
Yeah, he hadn't been rehabbing like an injury or anything either.
Right.
Like he just had free time, and free time when you're, like you said, when you're not on the road, you can do things a little bit differently. You don't have to, you ain't wrestling, you ain't traveling. So you got more time to do other things. So yeah, he got himself in good shape. Clearly he took his break serious and wanted to come back and be like, all right, when I come back, I'm going to make sure I look as good as possible. So that way It shows a commitment, right? Like that's a big part of it. Is it shows how committed he was while he was sidelined and off television, and that goes a long way. I'm sure Triple H appreciates when these guys always come back jacked. Like Wes Oble mentioned Triple H when he came back from the quad tear. He appreciates someone who takes that time off and is just clanging and banging and everything. Is that's what he did. So he respects it.
But I do wonder if he got that from his daddy-in-law. You know, the expectation that you come back looking bigger than ever. I do wonder.
It's still like, let's be honest. Cody even says this. It's a body business.
It's an upper body business, brother. Yeah.
Yeah. It's still a body business. Like the game has changed a little bit, but it's still, you still want to make sure you're looking good out there for the camera. Still a body business.
Randy Orton wants that world title match, the undisputed title match at Royal Rumble. Probably get it. We'll see after next week's SmackDown that's already been taped. You can find the spoilers if you want. But meanwhile, AJ Styles coming back. I do really enjoy having him back. I think him and Roman would be fun to watch. I think maybe we'll get there eventually. I don't know when. Could do it as early as the Chamber. I don't know. Does Styles come back?
Roman ain't working that Chamber show.
Why not? It's Australia. I'd send him out to that show. That's a big paid show.
It is, but I mean, so is Backlash in Puerto Rico, and he ain't working that one.
Well, that's because it's part of the States, kind of, you know. I'm not going to get into the political Puerto Rico and the United States, but I'm saying it is connected more to the United States than Perth, Australia is by several hours.
Roman ain't got time for no Australian show. Get out of here with that.
Stop it. Would you do a multi-man match at the Rumble instead of Randy and Roman potentially one-on-one?
No. And why? I'll tell you why. Because Roman's going to have this title another year.
You're on that righteous reg train.
You can't burn through those matches just yet. You do Randy at the Rumble. You do whoever is tabbed to lose to him at Mania. And then you can do AJ. And then you can do another LA night match. And then we get to Rumble next year Mania next year where we all talk ourselves into Cody again. For a third time. Third time's the charm, baby.
Third time's the charm. Could you imagine? It's the 3-year trilogy of Roman wins twice, and finally Cody finishes the story. And then it's a contract year for Roman, as we discover at that time. It's like, oh God, please no. That'd be awful. Just finish the story. Or you know what? If you're going to do it another year, have Roman versus Cody at WrestleMania 41 with Cody as the champion, and Roman won the title, and Cody suddenly this dastardly heel.
Roman's keeping that thing for as long. I'm convinced Solo might win this thing right now. Like
Solo. He was so. Oh man, listen, I get it. If you spend any time under bright lights and you're a bigger dude and you're wearing a tracksuit and there's like thousands of people screaming at you, yeah, your brow gets a little bit wet. That man was just sweating bullets at the beginning of that SmackDown segment. God bless Solo.
I'm convinced. So like Roman's talked about just keeping this whole thing in the family. I'm convinced.
I love that, by the way, because I've said this a billion times that it should be in the family.
I'm convinced Solo actually is the tribal heir, and he's the one to beat Roman Reigns. It doesn't feel like it right now because Solo doesn't feel like that guy. They still got a year and a half to get him there, so they'll be fine. It's gonna be Solo. Just wait, everybody.
Okay, hold on. I just saw this article drop at 11 o'clock. And of course, this is your doing. So we're bringing back newsworthy first.
What I do?
Samoa Joe, what a lot of Swifties are experiencing, we've been doing in wrestling for years.
Yeah.
God bless you, Jeremy Lambert.
What?
I had to draw attention to that.
That's what he said.
It is what he said, but he was on In the Zone and he talked about Swifties. Good for him. You will find anything and turn it into a Swiftie conversation. I God bless.
I didn't ask the question.
I know.
He was asked about Taylor Swift concerts and how like it's a lot of production and fireworks and explosions and pyro and ballyhoo and all this stuff. And so he was just saying, like, yeah, like what a lot of Swifties are experiencing at these concerts, like we've sort of just been doing in wrestling for years. Yeah, I turned that into an article. Why wouldn't I?
Well, of course you would, but I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying God bless because you find a way to do it.
All right, thank you.
All right, Tribal Air. Is it Samoa Joe?
Dude, could you imagine if Joe comes back?
I'd pay big money to watch that. And then we do Samoa Joe versus CM Punk in WWE for the World Championship, the real World Championship on Raw. Oh, let's go.
That was a good match at All In. That was the best match at All In.
Bring it to the UK. Have that be the big match for like SummerSlam 2025. Samoa Joe versus CM Punk for the real World Championship.
Samoa Joe back in WWE would be fun. I hope he wins the AEW World Title.
Me too. We'll see where that goes. That's next week when we talk about World's End and the build up for the last week. There's only 2 matches on the card officially. We'll have a few more after Dynamite this week.
There's 2, but one's missing a competitor. Yeah.
Let's just call it Jarabushi. Let's just
I do think it's going to be Coda. I do. That was my initial thought. I haven't gone a reason to 3 Continental Classic finals.
That's fair. Yeah,
it's just not an official match yet. We don't know who's actually in it.
And we know that whoever wins the Holiday Bash, the women's match between Riho and Saraya, they face Toni Storm at World's End.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and Copeland Cage. That's a challenge that was made on Collision.
It's unofficial. It'll
we're talking
good about following that stuff up.
We want to get these matches on officially official. But Toni Storm will defend the women's championship. We know that the tag team titles will be on the line. We just don't know who the 4th man is, brother. We know the world title's on the line. That match is official. That's Samoa Joe versus MJF. But otherwise, the Continental Classic. We know of things. We just don't know who all the competitors are officially moving into some of those matches.
Going to be a long night on December 30th.
Kota Ibushi got a phone call just being like, okay, we need your help. We need you to fly in. And Kota's just like, can I spend New Year's Eve in Times Square?
That's all I give a shit about.
Can I blow up the ball in Times Square?
Kota,
you can do whatever you want. Here's $50,000.
Can I get like a Kota New York travel vlog? That's all I want out of this. Just like Kota's weekend in New York. That's it. Give me that. It's Saturday explore. I guess like Friday exploring, Saturday exploring, wrestling the match, whatever. Who cares about wrestling? Sunday, New Year's Eve exploring, being in Times Square for New Year's Eve and everything. That's what we need. Put that on pay-per-view, and I'm sold.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's get Kota on this show. Kota Does New York. There we go. Book that. Let's go on a bicycle. Kota on a bicycle with a lead pipe
around. It's the only way to get around New York, from what I've heard, is you got to be on a bicycle.
The metro works. The subway works for the most part. I've rarely had any trouble. I've had more trouble today navigating the Toronto Transit Commission than I did New York's transit.
Never been to New York.
You never been to Toronto either. Why don't you call? Why don't you visit?
I don't know. I might next year. Maybe.
That's true. Yeah, let's do that. Come see Taylor Swift. Not with me, but with somebody.
That's the only reason I would go. I'd go alone. I don't care.
That's fair. Let's get Jeremy. Let's get Jeremy to Taylor Swift with all your super chats. Will Chisholm sent one saying, so with Bayley calling Dakota the mastermind of Damage Control, do you think there's a tease of her being the new leader of the group?
I mean, I think Dakota was sort of, I don't know if they have an established leader, because Dakota took kind of credit for bringing Kyrie in. So she was like, I made that call. I think Bayley's just kind of playing nice right now, because then she entered herself into the Rumble. She's the first female entrant into the Rumble. So I think it's just sort of Bayley just playing nice. And if it still feels like the turn is on Bayley, like everyone, she gets turned on. I think she gets turned on and becomes a babyface. It's been a long time since Bayley's been a babyface. Long time. Charlotte being out of the picture kind of opens things up a little bit more for Rumble and Mania, because usually Charlotte's going to get a high profile spot no matter what. Now, she's not there. So they might do Bayley and Io. Man, did they do Bailey and Io at Mania? Io wins with the help of Asuka, Kyrie, Dakota. And then we get it, Joel. We get it. Done, 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 done. Money. Done, 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 done. Money. Like,
No. I said this on the Christmas stream, the holiday stream. I'm a Jew. I can say Christmas. The Dakota Kai, to me, might be the person who, sorry for the phrasing, gets turned on. You used it too, so I get to use it. I think that they might turn on Dakota. Yeah, you did multiple times. People were pointing it out. For Jeff Valley Driver pointing out the phrasing in the chat. I could see Dakota Kai being the one who gets jumped out of the group and maybe becomes the babyface and goes after Io Sky. I could see it. They have high hopes for Dakota. She also has been inactive because of the injury, but there's a story there. She refuses to jump out Bailey. Maybe it's both of them because Bailey brought her back and she sees that and she notices that. And yeah, she has a connection to the other women in the group, but like she doesn't want to go after the hand that brought her back. And that's how we bring Dakota Kai over to the babyface side of things. Not saying it happens before WrestleMania, but I'm saying you can still draw this out. There's still a bit of time before you get someone out of Damage Control. Does not have to be Bailey, or it could be Bailey with somebody else.
Dun, 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 dun. Thanks.
That's how it would to be. Thanks. Oh God, Charlotte Flair. Unfortunately, like you said, she's out for reportedly 9 months. There's
hashtag bow down. We love the queen.
We do. Sorry, my eye is itchy as hell.
Are you okay?
No, I've had a very rough morning. Everyone should feel bad. Actually, let's get the super chat before we get there. Kim Gray, thank you so much. Just want to say hi to my cousins Jay and Jay. Yes, we do. Thank you.
Thanks, Kim.
Thank you, Kim. You're the best. Happy holidays to you and the family. We appreciate you. We really do. The injury, yes. Hashtag bow down. We hope that Charlotte is quick to recover. We were given the report. I think this was was it Justin on SI?
What's the
recovery time? The recovery time and the injury itself. They said it was a torn the Logan Paul special. Torn ACL, torn MCL, torn meniscus, and then maybe she strained her neck on the way down from that injury.
That was I saw that on PW Insider.
Okay.
But I also saw Meltzer report the knee stuff. The neck strain was reported. Not that one was not confirmed. That was from PW Insider. WWE said 9 months. So WWE themselves said 9 months.
Yeah. And when WWE says 9 months, that gives me pause. John Cena terraces everything. John Cena returns at the Royal Rumble. I am not saying that Charlotte comes back at the Rumble.
Not this Rumble.
Not this Rumble. Especially, well, again, that's why I don't know what we're looking at in terms of the injury. I'm not doubting the injury. I do believe that she was injured. I do believe that it's bad. Sometimes I wonder, WWE loves to pull they're superhuman, these athletes of ours. So when we say 9 months, we really mean 6. Sometimes we mean 4. And then they say, oh, they're inhuman. They're superhuman. Don't know. I hope it's quick. I hope I'm able to look at this and be like, oh, she actually came back in Paris at Backlash instead of at SummerSlam or beyond. So we'll see with Charlotte, but we do wish her well. We hope she's okay. We hope that the injury time is minimal and that the recovery time is maximum.
I'd be shocked if she was at SummerSlam. SummerSlam would be about the 9-month mark. I'd be shocked if it was SummerSlam. I think because you also got to factor in those plans as well. Like maybe she returns in SummerSlam after a match, but then can't wrestle for a couple of weeks between them. SummerSlam would surprise me. Like 9 months is relatively standard for ACL. Wes Obel said that. I think that's 9 months. Usually if somebody tears an ACL, 9 months is about what they're out for. Because you're rehabbing all the other stuff with it. I feel like a meniscus is more. Achilles is Like
That's
Achilles
massive.
is the big one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the year maybe plus.
Yeah. Like and 9 months might be a little generous of when she's gonna return. I wouldn't expect her if she's back by Survivor Series of next year. I think that would be good. Like that's
Okay.
my expectation.
Okay. Again, I hope I'm surprised. That's really what I'm getting at. Is I hope it's not a full 9 months. I hope that she's back sooner. Because again, in history, when WWE reports 9 months, traditionally they're back a little sooner because so they can say our athletes are superhuman, they're amazing, and so on and so forth. That's a good thing if it happens, but we'll find out. Will Chisholm sent a super chat saying that Michael Cole, it's boss time return is going to be so funny. To be fair, they said Wesley would be out 8 to 12 months. The Wesley injury is so strange to me because he comes out with the not the brace, the singular thing.
Crutch.
It's a crutch. Was it the crutch? Yeah. I think MJF had the cane, the weird cane. But yeah, so Wesley comes out with the crutch. No one really expected it, and nobody really knows what reportedly went down. But comes out and Wesley says, "I'm out," and then we find out it's going to be back surgery, which is like I thought it was going to be a knee. I thought it was going to be something else. When they said back, I'm like, oh shit, that's a year. You do a backiotomy, you're gone for. Look what happened to Randy Orton. It took him 18 months, took his time. Wesley is much younger. We don't know what the wear and tear on his body looks like, but that's looking like close to a year. That sucks for Wesley. But Michael Cole saying it's boss time for the first time. He's gonna explode out of his seat. He's gonna run around the ring yelling it's boss time.
Well, this is Michael Cole unhinged too. Like he would that was subdued Michael Cole having to do all of that. Like now we get a Michael Cole who's just given the freedom to do whatever. Oh, it's gonna be special. It's gonna be special.
It's boss time. It's boss time. It's boss time. I got a golden ticket, but it's him yelling it's boss time. Oh god. Yeah, they need to get that shot, the camera shot, like they used to do with Mauro. Ronaldo.
They'll do it. They still got that little camera of camera of Cole losing his shit when Punk came back. Like they still do that announcer cam gimmick. They have it.
What else from SmackDown is worth bringing up, if anything?
I don't remember a lot of it because I had it on the same time as Final Battle. I was covering more Final Battle. Roman Reigns returned. Acknowledge. We gotta talk about it.
Carmelo Hayes had his debut match and surprised some people not named Jeremy or Joel winning that first round match against Grayson Waller. Really expected that. I will not spoil the next rounds, but it's good to see it's good to see Carmelo Hayes walk out with that victory and get a good start on SmackDown. What do you think of that first match for Carmelo Hayes?
It was good. I can't lie, I didn't catch all of it. But the bits and pieces that I saw, like, is what you expect from those two. I'm glad he won because I think him and Kevin Owens is the match you need to do. I suspect, like we talked about, there were a couple ways to book it, and the two best ways were Melo winning the first match, and then either having a competitive match against Kevin and losing, or having a competitive match against Lashley and losing. So we've at least both are on the table. They're setting up the match against Kevin. So good. The one thing I didn't want was either Melo losing in the first round. I guess two things: losing in the first round or losing to Austin Theory in the second round. Didn't want that. And fortunately, we got past stage one. Kevin Owens got past his stage. So he'll either have a competitive match against Owens and lose, or he'll have a competitive match against Lashley and lose. Shit, maybe he wins the whole thing. I don't think so, but maybe he does.
And then on the other side, Lashley is going to take on Santos Escobar next. That's going to be a fun match. That's a match I'm looking forward to. Yeah. I don't know if they're leaning in anymore on the Lashley Profits more babyface, because they're definitely keeping Santos Escobar as the heel. That's fine. That's understandable.
He's a dick.
It felt like Bobby was like a deal, like again, shades of gray, baby face that was kind of a dick. That's the way it felt to me.
I think Bobby Lashley is just he wants some gold, he wants some titles. He's gonna handle business. Whoever's in his way, you're getting knocked down. I feel like that's where Bobby Lashley's at. He's not fully babyface. He's not fully heel. He's a businessman. Like whoever's in his way, you got to get dealt with. I respect that.
He's a businessman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I respect that with old Bobby Lashley.
That's fair. Okay. Yeah. Lashley stands on his business. Goddamn. See, Omos made his return last night at a house show.
He's been wrestling house shows. It's not a return.
See that Omos was at a house show and won his match last night? How's that? Take two.
Man, Omos, they can bring him in at any time and he'd be awesome. But I don't know what they're gonna do with Omos. So what can you do?
Yep. I did SmackDown. No, Raw is tonight.
Raw is tonight, allegedly.
What is happening on Raw?
It's a tremendous show, Joel Pearl. A great lineup for people at 8 p.m. I know this lineup off the top of my head, Joel.
Good, because I can't see shit on the WWE website.
8 p.m. Eastern, USA Network. Join us for a great show. It's going to feature Gunther defending the WWE Intercontinental Championship against The Miz. Gunther, the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time. Can The Miz win his 10th Intercontinental Championship? I think he's a 10. I actually don't know. Can he win the Intercontinental title? If The Miz loses, he can never challenge for the Intercontinental Championship again as long as Gunther is the WWE Intercontinental Champion. We also have a undisputed WWE Tag Team title matchup as the Judgment Day. Finn Balor, Damian Priest continue to prove that they run Raw when they take on the Creed brothers, Julius and Brutus Creed. Can the Creed brothers knock off the Judgment Day in an undisputed WWE Tag Team title match? Tune in live, 8 p.m. Eastern, USA Network to find out. Plus, the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships are on the line as Piper Niven and Chelsea Green defend against Kaden Carter and Katana Chance. They love colors. They love music. Can Kaden Carter and Katana Chance put their love of colors and music aside to win gold and prove they love the color gold while listening to their own music when they take on Piper Niven and Chelsea Green for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships? All that at 8 p.m. Eastern, live on the USA Network, along with Seth Rollins, the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Seth Rollins will be there to address his enemy, Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre is set to challenge for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship at WWE Day 1 Raw on January 1st. Seth Rollins will address Drew McIntyre live tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, USA Network. It's a great show for everybody. Live tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, USA Network. WWE Raw. See?
What's Cody going to do?
He's not booked. He's not advertised, brother. What do you want me to say?
My God, Cody falling down the wayside.
He's still like cleaning his face, man. That shit takes a while.
It does. It's red fruit juice, and if you know, you know that stuff stains. KC Squared, are they going to win the tag titles? What do you think?
Oh.
No, I don't think so either. Creed Brothers though, Creed Brothers dethroning Judgment Day.
Maybe, but probably not. But like, I ain't mad at it if they do. Probably not, but maybe.
It feels to me like this might be Cody coming in, and there's a disqualification finish. They do a 6-man tag next week because it's Christmas Raw. Are they taping twice nights?
No. Christmas Raw is a best of show, brother.
Is it officially a best of show?
Yeah.
That sounds awful.
They ain't taping 6 hours of Raw tonight.
They don't have to. All they have to do is tape a few matches and intersplice between best of the year. Weekly live episodic content. What are we doing here, WWE?
Remember they did a best of Christmas Raw a few years ago, and that's when they introduced the women's tag team titles. Santa Vince did the big intro.
God, that was bad.
Maybe we'll get Papa Santa H out there next week for the Christmas Raw. He'll introduce fucking title. Can he introduce? They got many.
The Women's Intercontinental Championship.
Okay. Award show. Yeah, they should do the Slammies. Like
it should be the Slammies. But if it wasn't Day 1 Raw, then they would do the Slammies. Instead, Christmas Raw should be the Slammies. And it should be
Christmas Raw is just gonna be a best of. You're just gonna get, I don't know, what happened on Raw this year. I'm sure stuff happened.
Exactly. It's gonna be all the stuff that happened when Vince McMahon wasn't there.
It's gonna be that would be tremendous, honestly.
They're just gonna replay the Mania, the Raw after Mania, and be like, so was it shit?
This is our truth, man. It should just be our truth doing shit for 3 hours next week.
You know that episode of The Simpsons where they're gonna take the cable off the air, so Krusty goes to a shack in the middle of nowhere, and he's like, "It's just me for 24 hours a day with my friend. This photo of Ike Eisenhower. Let's get busy." That's what I need from our truth. They just put him in the studio, single camera on him, and he just vamps for 3 full hours.
I'm for it. For it.
We should
do
do that.
Big business right there. Our truth.
Oh my goodness. Next, what we got Wednesday? Wednesday, Missa Kate is supposed to be joining us. We're excited to welcome her to the show. We're going to confirm that, but that is the tentative booking is Missa Kate. If you haven't seen her, then you haven't been watching the NWA, and I kind of get it, but she's tearing up the independents as well.
Wow.
She's a fantastic talent. She is a reason to watch the NWA because, again, the NWA undercard, the women's division, is very, very strong. So we're excited to welcome Missa on Wednesday morning. There we go.
So you mentioned this ahead of things. We had Jade Chung on to break that news. That Scott D'Amore had breaking news on Busted Open.
Yes. Did he break that news?
Well, apparently the breaking news was just, as Scott D'Amore teased on Busted Open Radio, worlds will collide on January 13th at Hard to Kill. You won't believe who is showing up. So he broke the
Mike
news.
Rallis will be at Hard to Kill on January 13th. Madcap Mike Rallis will make his debut.
He broke the news that you won't believe who is showing up.
Hooray. Listen, the free agents are up in 2 days. We have Mustafa Ali teasing an announcement. You've got Mason Mansoir, the former Mason Mansoir. They are appearing in DPW. They are appearing in GCW. Big Gay Brunch. They're going to be there. And you've got Top Dollar. He's going to be returning to GCW. Very excited for that. Can we talk real quick? Did you see the tweet that he posted that AJ Francis posted about the botch that everyone wants to talk about, the flop, right? The what called him Flop Dollar. Did you read this? It turned out that
Did an article on it.
He did the article. Good. So he was talking about how he did the move that is now, synonymous with him wherever he goes. Thank you. And it turns out that he went to the doctor not too long afterwards and basically found out he was diabetic. And that his blood sugar at the time was like a ridiculous amount, leading into he was diabetic, and that saved his life. That incident, that was wild. That's a wild story to be telling. Props to AJ Francis.
Yeah. He tweeted this on Saturday night because it was the year anniversary of the dive that went wrong. We all made fun of him. He made fun of himself. He made fun of it on WWE TV. Michael Cole kept mentioning it, and he even said, we're maybe going to work a match. Me and Michael Cole, we wanted to work a match. Clearly, he was okay with one. He was okay, which is good. Two, he was okay with the jokes and stuff because maybe the business has changed enough to where if he went and was like, "Hey, can we not do this?" They would have said, "Yes, okay, no problem." But the wrestling business is the wrestling business. Stuff like this happens. Typically, it gets made fun of on television. But clearly he was okay with it. Didn't ask anybody to stop or anything like that. And again, wanted to try to turn it into something. It's good that he got help. It's good that he went to the doctor. He got the diagnosis, and that it did help him in the end with everything. He kept that pretty quiet. No one knew for the last year that had happened, but glad he's okay. He's done that move before. It's very easy to make fun of Top Dollar that he didn't pull it off. It's oh, haha, see, too big to jump up. He's done it before. It was just unfortunate, and now we kind of know why. That on national television, he couldn't hit the move. In front of millions on Fox, he couldn't hit the move, but he hit it in front of 50 people at an independent show.
So I have to say this jokingly. Do you think they're going to do the dive, but do the botch dive as a spot in GCW? just to get people.
I don't know if
Rage
you can
bait them?
like. How do you pull it off? Like, that's tough because that's a tough botch right there. Sabu, Lance Storm has told us a million times. Sabu would famously botch spots, like on purpose. Like he would tell Lance and other wrestlers, like, yeah, I'm gonna fuck this up. So they chant, you fucked up. But like I didn't fuck up. I just do it to work them, which hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. I'm like, let me screw up this move to get a you fucked up chant because that's the reaction I'm looking for. Like that's higher level thinking right there from Sabu.
There's one thing Sabu was good at. It's high. I'm watching this because I have the tweet loaded up and I'll read it in a sec. But like he could do it if he lands on his hands and maybe turns it into a dive off of his hands. I don't know. There's a way to do it, but I think he'll play into it at the GCW match. I'll read the tweet out real quick. The botch saved my life. I made that dive a dozen times before. Legs felt off, but I didn't think about it. After I failed, I went to the doc and found out I had type 2 diabetes and my blood sugar was 626, which, by the way, I don't have diabetes, but people in the replies were like, that's insanely high. He says, I almost lost my life and I was about to lose both feet. The botch saved my life. Later on, he says, blood sugar was taken like a month later. Someone talking about the 626 is wild. He says it was taken a month later when I couldn't put weight back on. So I got my blood tested to get approved for TRT. Knowing how I track my sugar levels now, the night of the botch is probably 250 to 300, which is still terrible. And other people just sharing their stories about that. It's craziness.
Yeah, like good on AJ for getting diagnosis, getting healthy, getting healthier. He gets made fun of a lot on social media because of various reasons, but I've never heard a bad word about the person, AJ Francis. Never heard a bad word about the actual person. The wrestling is what it is with him. He's a very good person.
There you go. We'll all watch AJ Francis matches tonight. That's what we'll do to celebrate AJ Francis.
Short night.
It's gonna be.
I'm kidding. AJ.
I'm gonna clip this and send it to him, and we're gonna rate things. We like to do it. He's a good dude. Does a lot of good stuff for charities. Does a lot of good stuff for people in need. So there you go. Especially this.
We should get AJ on this show. He knows. I mean,
let's do that
with Sean. Yeah.
Let's get AJ Francis on the show. I'm sure he'd enjoy talking about that and talking about his charitable endeavors because that's fun. And then we'll let the chat have a little fun with him too because I'm gonna partner promo punch him in the face with his friends and his former stablemates.
Oh,
yeah. Well, maybe not. I've already had that awkward interaction once.
Yeah.
Anyway, before I stick my foot in my mouth further, Jeremy Lambert, do you want to plug anything before we get out of here?
I think we can do partner promo punch with AJ with like some NFL people. I'll shoot
NFL
you.
People? Yeah, there you go.
I'll shoot you some of my ideas of that because I know you're not up on the football.
How about other AJs? So it would be AJ Styles,
okay,
AJ Przinsky.
Okay.
Who else could it be? I can't do AJ Lee for obvious reasons. He would just promo with her. Although if he said he wanted to punch her in the face, CM Punk might come after AJ Francis. We'll see.
You got to find another AJ. I don't know of like I'm sure there's out there.
Oh, I'm sure they exist.
Famous AJ Sports. Google everybody. Famous athletes named AJ.
AJ Gray.
AJ Gray?
The wrestler.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say I feel like I know that name, but
you don't see him a lot these days.
AJ Hawk. There we go. There's one.
That's a good one. Yeah,
right there. AJ Hawk. That's probably the one that you would most. I thought about AJ Feely. I thought it was for some reason just Jay Feely. AJ McCarron. All right, there's a few. I don't know. We'll go with some football players, some quarterbacks. He famously, AJ from the Backstreet Boys. There we go.
Let's go.
We can probably get AJ on the show. He seems like I'd like to talk to him. Seems like a nice guy. Seems like a fun guy.
Yeah, we'd have a good time. I think he'd be perfect for this really awful show that we do.
Get him to rap on this show. Should I battle him? You think he'd battle?
Oh,
him?
Yes, we should. That's it right there. Listen, Chad, if you aren't jazzed about this now, you will be when we do it. We'll put on Jeremy's favorite background music just for that, and we'll let him.
I can't battle to a beat though. Like,
Well,
I'm
now
not
you
good
will.
at that. Nah, because like all the battle rap I watch, there's no beat.
That's fair.
Like, yeah, AJ Brown, that's a good shout.
That's a
Wide
good one.
receiver for the Philadelphia Eagles. All right, I'm calling out AJ. I'm calling out AJ Francis. Me and you, battle rap.
Let's go. Let's get the scoops from AJ Francis ahead.
Put your money where your mouth is, king of the dot.
Anyway, you got anything else to add?
No.
Wonderful. I'm glad we did that. Thanks again to TNA Wrestling, and congratulations again to Jade Chung, the new TNA ring announcer. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to her journey continuing with TNA Wrestling.
Thank you, everyone. It's been a tremendous year for Fightful and Fightful Overbooked. We
Why?
have a great week of In the Weeds coming up.
Stop
we
it.
have breaking news tomorrow on In the Weeds 10 a.m.
Oh,
Eastern.
it's dated already.
Yeah, it's already. Jeez, Tony Lambert, what are we doing here? All right. Well, you got
Hello,
something?
Joel Pearl.
Hi.
Joel Pearl, what's wrong?
We have one more super chat I forgot about. Will Chisholm said, nice NXT 2.0 match on SmackDown. LOL. That Lashley and Santos promo was great. It's hard to book Bobby heel because the fans love him. And that's a good point. People really like Bobby Lashley. He is becoming that legacy character that people just want to love because he's so good. Like he's just beloved. He's really good at his job.
Twan, you're correct. DNA he was on Grapsody not too long ago.
Yeah.
Go check that out. Yes.
It was a good interview too.
Yeah.
All right. We're out of here. Jeremy, anything else?
AJ Francis calling you out.
Let's do it.
Who hotter than Flop Dollar? Me.
Wow. Shots fired. It was like a bit of a weak shot, but it was a shot nonetheless. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. Ladies and gentlemen, friends beyond the binary. I am Joel Pearl, JOELPERL. We will see you in the next